Hey, what's up? It's Valar. Hope everybody's doing awesome. So, Doom Tower is actually I'm super excited about it, and I think it's been delivered well. For one of the few times in Raid, I can actually say that. The game did have a minor server crashes in the morning, but it's actually run pretty smooth. I feel excited about Raid again. Really, I got to give Plarium credit because, in my opinion, I think it's been done well. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But it's one of the best pieces of content they've delivered in the game, period, actually. So we're going to go look at these new champions, the 6 new champions, excuse me, and just my opinions on them. I had said in the previous video that I'm actually Archmage Hellmut is my target right now because I'm going to go up normal first and try to get as many fragments of him. But it's still going to take quite a while because I think you only get, 3 fragments each secret room. So you're looking at 36 fragments. It's going to take 3 months to get this guy, I feel like, actually. So I don't think anybody's getting anything for 3 or 4 months, if I'm thinking correctly here. But let's just look at what the guy does. He is absolutely badass. Said he looks like Odin, kind of, without the eye patch, with all the lightning coursing throughout him. I mean, the guy looks like Thor's dad, right? This looks like where Thor's sperm was generated from, right? That made Thor. Anyway, anyway, what's he do? Attacks one enemy, fills the champion's turn meter by 10%, fills the turn meter by 20% if they attack crits. He is based on an attack damage speed of 108. His attack's actually really low, so I don't know if that's going to be like a Sinesha thing where the attack's low but she actually hits pretty hard, or you're not really going to care what damage he puts out. So attacks one enemy, also attacks all other enemies if the first attack's a crit. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing stun for 1 turn, which you can book up to, a 75% chance here. And then after attacking, decreases the turn meters of each enemy without a stun by 20% on a 3-turn cooldown. So that's actually cool because you're getting utility out of the entire ability no matter what. It's not like if you miss the stun, you're getting nothing out of it. If you miss the stun, you get the decreased turn meter, right? So you get something too. It's actually pretty cool. And then this is a really big ability on a 3-turn cooldown. Places increased speed, increased crit rate, and increased crit damage on all allies for 2 turns. Pretty sick. Speed boost with increased crit rate, the Hiver 30% increased crit rate, increased crit damage. Pretty nice. And immune to turn meter decreasing effects. Ally speed in the arena by 17. Not quite sure why they would put that here. There's so many auras that already outdo that. The rest of his kit is actually pretty good. This is just kind of whatever. Just slap an aura on him for him to have it. That's kind of what it feels like. But I actually think he has a potential to be a top tier epic. And that's probably good because it's going to take us months to get this guy, right? It's going to take us months to get all these things. So there's that. And then let's look at the other ones here real quickly. Okay, I think if we go in order of the factions, the next one we got is actually the Orc guy. This guy right here, Gomlock Skyhide. He's actually the top tier reward as far as everything goes, I think, because if you Thea the Tomb Angel is the one that's now on hard, so she's the first one. He looked like he was the last one. Attacks one enemy has a 50% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. Also 50% chance of placing leech debuff for 2 turns on 2 random enemies if the champion has full HP. That's kind of cool. Attacks one enemy has a 60% chance. What can you book that to, actually, too? So 20... 30%, 80% chance. Wish that was a 100% chance, actually. I mean, for a legendary that's going to take quite a long time to get. And it is a one-hitter, which technically could hit for 2 turns on 2 random enemies. It seems a bit RNG for how long it's going to take us to get this guy. Just my opinion there. So attacks one enemy has a 60% chance of stealing 2 random buffs from the target. That's pretty cool. Which you can book up to 100% chance. Okay. Also has a 60% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 50%. Steals 50% of the target's turn meter instead if this champ has full HP. So he can do 100% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 50 on a 2-turn cooldown. Wow. That's some serious turn meter manipulation right there. That is actually pretty damn badass. I kind of like that, actually. He's really going to be really good for turn meter control. Plus AoE hits twice. Each hit has, which you can book up to 100% to do decreased defense on all enemies for 2 turns. The first hit on each target also has a 75% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. Okay, we book it up to 100% as well. So you can do decreased defense and decreased turn meter by a little bit. Second hit on each target also has a 75% chance, or 100% if booked, of placing a 25% weakened debuff for 2 turns if the champ has full HP. So you want to have full HP as much as possible, obviously. So he, on a 4-turn cooldown here, that's pretty sick, actually. Two-hitter AoE with decreased defense and weaken and turn meter manipulation. That's pretty intense, actually. It's pretty good. And his passive, whenever 4 or more buffs are placed on the enemy team in a single turn, places a shield buff on this champion for equal to 15% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. That's pretty interesting. So 4 or more buffs placed on the enemy team in a single turn will do a shield buff on this champion for equal to 15% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. That's pretty cool. So whenever they're getting buffs, he's placing shields on himself. Pretty cool. I don't think he's my favorite one, although the turn meter manipulation, the decreased defense, that's pretty sick, actually. I think we had... No. I always get Demon Spawn, Undead, and all this stuff kind of mixed up, so excuse me for that. Here it is. Urost the Soulcage. We did have a Demon Spawn, though. I could have swore, didn't we? Yeah, we had that Akoth guy. But we'll go with Urost here. Urost. Look at this. This is actually... Wow. I mean... There's his plasma dick right there. Look at that thing. That's how he impregnates the undead, whatever he mates with. I don't know. Can he mate with himself? Like, whatever. He's like the Hulk. He looks like the Hulk with, like, rocks on him there. And then a tiny little head with the tree. He's a combination between the Hulk and Groot. Actually, he looks pretty badass. Although it does kind of look like his wang is just hanging out right there, you know. That He's got a 1-hitter, places a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. The shield's value increases by 1% for each poison debuff on the target. Pretty cool. This guy actually looks amazing. AoE, 75% chance of decreasing turn meter by 15% of enemies under 1 or more poison. 75% chance of placing decreased speed on enemies under 2 or more poisons. 75% chance of placing stun on enemies under 3 or more poisons, and instantly activates the skill when he's revived by Riho the Conjurer on a 3-turn cooldown, which you can book all that up to 100%. Really cool kid, actually, there. Then this is on a 3-turn cooldown as well. So, okay, they had showed this on a 5-turn cooldown, I remember, when this came out. And I was thinking it would only be booked to a 4-turn cooldown, which was the problem with what's-his-face? Whirlum Frost King, I think. He might even have a 5-turn cooldown booked. But this guy's got Strengthen and Ally Protect on a 3-turn cooldown. That's pretty damn good, actually. That is actually pretty sick. Places 25% Strengthen for 2 turns and a 50% Ally Protect on all allies except him for 2 turns. And then his passives, when attacked, 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. So by him, actually, you want him to just be getting attacked like he's a super tank, right? And whenever an ally is attacked while under a strengthen buff, has a 50% chance of placing Provoke on the attacker for 1 turn, which can be booked up to a 75% chance. That's kind of cool. So he really is a true mega tank. Like, this guy's a legendary tank right here. I love tanky characters. I don't always love the speed, meta, and everything, too. Sometimes I like to have something that's just an actual, bruiser-type character. This guy's got what it would seem like potential bruiser capabilities, debuffer capabilities. He's got a mixture of a whole bunch of things in one, so really interesting. And increases a champion's max HP by 5% whenever an enemy receives damage from a poison debuff placed by his champion. Whenever an enemy receives damage from a poison debuff placed by his champion, also decreases their max HP by 5%. Can't do more than 25% and won't work against bosses. That's a lot to take in, a lot to go over. The only thing that I will say is speed is slow. But if you think about it from a tankier setup, if you can get the Provoke to go off and you want him getting hit, so for the Strengthen, you want that to actually be speedy, I think. But the problem is his speed's a little bit slow. But I think Rausen's actually slower than this guy anyway by 1. maybe 2. I'm not. I'm not. I know Rosin's slow, but kind of cool. And you do essentially, when you think about it, a tankier character, you would kind of want them to be slower so that they don't get rid of the provoke or they. Well, it's a little different in this game, but anyway, if they were taunting someone, that taunt would actually stay up longer. It actually works quite a little bit differently here because the provoke is actually on the other target. Anyways, so I was getting a little bit ahead of myself on that one, as I always do. Yeah. Okay, I'm going all over the place here. Let's go to the Knight Revenant one. We got Thea the Tomb Angel, and these are the 3 legendaries already. I think there's 2 epics I've missed, so we'll go back to them in a second here. But Thea looks pretty badass too. She's got like floating wings and with daggers on them. Wow, that's pretty cool actually. I didn't notice that before. There's daggers or swords or her feathers on her wings. Pretty dang sick. Pretty cool looking characters. All of them are actually pretty cool. Even the well. All of them are cool, and she's even got a thong on. I mean, how can we possibly not like that? She looks like she's worshiping Satan, but she does have a thong on right there. So anyway, whatever. Attacks 2 times at random. 100% chance of placing a Hex debuff for 5 turns. Debuff cannot be resisted, and each critical hit decreases the cooldown of Not of This World skill by 1 turn. So she's constantly placing hexes if you spam her A1, which is pretty cool. AoE, damage increases by 50% for each hex debuff on the enemy team and stacks up to 300. Removes all hex debuffs from all enemies after attacking. On a 5-turn cooldown at 1 booked. On a 5-turn cooldown here, places Perfect Valence Champion for 3 turns and grants an extra turn. 50% chance of placing True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. When an enemy loses 30% or more of their max HP in a single hit. So she's pretty cool. She's interesting. I actually think Urost is actually probably the best out of all 3 of those. Maybe actually the Orc guy too. So I do think Thea is probably the right one to give us first. She seems like out of those 3, while she's good, don't get me wrong, they're all good. She's not the best out of those 3. Just my opinion. And that's it. So Dark Elves was one we got too. Here we go. This guy. Riho the Conjurer, otherwise known as Dwight from The Office. Rainn Wilson. No, I'm sorry. I just saw. It doesn't look anything like Dwight, but this guy does look pretty badass. He's got a legendary look about him, if you ask me, too. So sometimes, like, these floating swords are freaking sick. 1 green floating sword, 1 orange floating sword. Oh, no. Oh, actually, he's holding them, and then they float. That's cool. That is actually pretty cool. Okay, so attacks one enemy, 50% chance of placing block buffs, debuff for 2 turns. All right. I think block buffs is actually a good debuff. Has 75% chance of removing all buffs, which you booked up to 100%. I was looking, is that more than 100? No, that's just weird. Sorry. Okay. Could 100% remove all debuffs? All buffs. So he's a cleanser. A buff stripper. Jeez. Also has a 75% chance of placing a weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. That's cool. So you can do the debuff strip and place a weaken. Not quite as good as a Madame Ceres would do on this, but if you don't have a Madame Ceres or something, this guy's pretty good actually too for that. But he has differences in his kit that are, he's good. Revives a dead ally with 50% HP, then fills their turn meter by 50%. Will then also place block debuffs for 2 turns. Will also revive Akoth the Seared and Urost the Soulcage with 30% HP if they're on the same team and not the target. Will then fill their turn meter by 30%. If they are the target, it will revive them with 50% HP and 50% turn meter and place block debuffs on a 4-turn cooldown. So pretty cool. Ally accuracy in all battles by 40. That's kind of neat. I think I'm missing one of them. Let me look here. I don't remember which one I'm missing. Akoth the Seared, right? So he is the demon spawn guy. I knew there was a demon spawn in there somewhere. He is the last one we'll go over. So Akoth the Seared here. Wow, this guy is freaking badass, actually. I mean, they're all so cool. Whoa, look at these, like, meteor hands. It looks like he's going to shoot him. It looks like he's coming from, well, even though he's coming from hell because he's demon spawn, but like he's coming from outer space to shoot a comet up someone's ass is what it looks like. I mean, seriously. All right, so attacks one enemy, 50% chance of placing a decreased crit rate debuff for 2 turns. Okay. That one's kind of the most underwhelming ability out of all of them, if you ask me, actually. So decreased crit rate is good, but it's kind of meh, right? AoE that has a 20% chance of placing HP burn debuff for 200. The chance of placing this debuff increases by 20% for each alive enemy. So if there's a big wave, he leads with this, and he's going to basically do a big AoE HP burn. That's cool. And then AoE that does 50% chance, which you can book up to 75, or increasing the cooldowns of all skills by 2 turns on enemies under HP burn. Wow, I like that. Also places a shield buff equal to 20% of this champion's max HP on all allies for 2 turns. He has a little bit lower HP than what most are, right? But still, it's kind of cool because it actually does a shield and increasing cooldowns, which is really cool. I like that ability, and it's on a 4-turn cooldown and instantly activates this skill when he's revived by Riho the Conjurer. I don't know if it's Rian or Ryan, whatever. Has a 10% chance of placing Fear debuff on an enemy for 1 turn whenever they receive damage from HP burn debuff placed on themselves. Huh? Oh, okay. Whenever an enemy has an HP burn, basically chance of placing Fear is what I think that means. Ally HP in all battles by 25. So he's good. He's good too. I would actually say my favorites out of this are maybe the Urost, definitely as far as the legendaries go. And personally, I like the guy I'm going for first. Actually, I like this Hellmut dude. Like I said in the other video, I got a buddy that we used to call Hellmut because his flat top looked like a helmet. So it reminds me of that. So anyway, I'm going to end the video right there. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. I will be back soon with more Raid Shadow Legends content. Thank you so much for checking it out. I hope you're all having as much fun with Doom Tower as I am right now. Cheers.